Hello, everybody. Usual, the name is Joseph Mauto. So this is part B of getting started with the R programming language. And so what it means is that if you've not watched the part A, then I will encourage you to look out for my part A of what getting started with the R software. Because this video is a continuation of what the part one of what getting started with the R software. Hope that is well understood. So if you've not watched the first part, I will encourage you to watch the very first part before you come back to this part B of what getting started with the R software. Right. And so having had a software download on your laptop, let's get started. So let's start with the R software. Open the R software together with me. As you can see, I have mine already open. And the other time I made it to understand that when you open the R software, this is the interface, or this is the interface that it comes with. This is how it looks like. Every software has gotten its own interface. And so for R, this is the interface. And I did explain the other time that this is what we call what? The R console, where I am hovering the cursor over. That's what we call the R console, right? That's where we're going to do our coding, our work, and what have you. Now, in the console, you can see an active, do I see an active bar here where you see the greater than symbol, right? In a red marker, who I'm hovering the cursor over. That's what we call the command prompt. The command prompt. Now, what does it do? The command prompt, it takes command from you, right? It's readily available to take an instruction from you. Then based on the command you give it will give you what? The desired outcome. That's what the command prompt does. So for instance, let's take a simple calculation as we were doing at that time. Let's take 14 plus 16, right? So I have 14 plus what? 16. That's the command I'm trying to give to the software. Like I said, in the R, the typing, the coding is done in what? The console. Now, having done this, to get the output or the outcome, I will need to what? Execute it, or I will need to what? Run it, right? To run it, just press enter. Now, when I press enter, you can see the answer being what? 30, which we all agree to that what? 14 plus 16 is what? 30. Then right after the answer, a different command prompt is what? Readily available, telling us that what? It is waiting for the next instruction. Let's take, for instance, 45 minus what? 35. Okay, so 45 minus 53. To run again, like I said, and to run simply means to spell out the command or to execute the command. To do that, you are going to what? Press enter. So when I press enter, it gives me the outcome as what? -8. And we all agree that whenever you subtract 45 from 53, you are going to be left with what? -8, right? That's what the command prompt does for us. Again, let me say something small about the R. So at the top right corner, this is what we call the R menu. The R menu. So you can see the file, the edit, the view, MISC, packages, window, help. So these are the menu where I'm hovering the cursor over. And these are what? The icons, right? This is the OpenScript icon. This load a workspace icon. Here is what? Save workspace. That's when you want to save your work in the R. That's where you go. That's the icon for it. This is the copy icon. And here is what? The paste icon, followed by the copy and paste icon, the stop icon, and then finally the print icon. Now, the icon and the menu are essentially important. They are essentially important. Now, many a time at the end of a work, you might want to share your code with what? Probably a colleague or a friend. Okay. Whenever we code in the console, we will not be able to share that outcome to probably someone, or even at a later time, whenever we open the R software, we will not be able to even pick it up from there to probably continue from there. And so in the case of using the R software, and then you want a situation where you will be able to continue at a later time, then in that case, what you need to do is to open a new script. And then that is where you're going to do what your coding and whatever that you want to do. Right. And so to open a new script, I'm going to navigate to the file menu, right? The file menu. So as you can see, that's the very first word on top. So I'm going to click. Then from there, from the drop downs, you can see what new script. Now, when I open a new script, I'm going to have an extended subsection, what we call the environment or the R source, the editor. Okay, so I'm going to open the new script. This is what I said. This is what we call what the editor. And you can enlarge it, you can minimize it, you can move it from one place to the other. It's up to you, as you can see. So I can just hover it to anywhere I want to. I can extend the borders up. I can extend it down. So I can extend it to the left and also what to the right. And so if you want a situation where at a later time you still want to have access and then continue your coding, then in that case it is wise to what open a script. It is ideal to open a script. Now, this is what we call the script. And so instead of coding in the console, we are now going to code in the script, right? Instead of coding in the console, we are now going to code in the script. And whenever we code in the console, the outcome will be, so whenever we code in the script, anything that we code here, that's the script, right? When we do the coding there, the outcome is going to show forth in what? The console. Take, for instance, let's take any two numerical network. Let's do 4 plus 8, right? So I have typed 4 plus 8 in the editor. And so to run this, I'm not going to press enter, but rather I'll press Control R. As you can see, as soon as I run it, this is the outcome. It gives me both the code and what? The outcome. It gives me both the code and what? The outcome. Let's take another example. Let's take another example. Probably 5 plus 15. Again, like I said, to run or to execute or to spell a code in the editor, you are going to press Control R. However, if you want to run in the console, then you just press enter. Now watch it, watch it, watch it. Here in the editor, I have what? 5 plus 15. I'm going to run this code. Like I said, to run this code, you just hold the control key and then what? You tap or you press the R. And as soon as or immediately you do that, it will run, it will first of all give you the entire code and then what? The follow up as well, the output in the console. So Control R, as you can see, here we are. It has given both the command and what? The output. And so at a later time, whenever I open the R, I can have access to what? The editor, right? Because if not that, then there will not have been the need to open a new script. But because there might be the possibility of furthering our coding or our work or our assignment, that is why we open what? A new script. All right. That is it, by the way, for R software. Now let's go back to the R Studio. Like I said, the R Studio is not different from the R. It is just an integrated development environment, meaning it is just a working environment for what? The R. That makes it what? More user friendly. And so having said that, I'm going to close the R. Then what? I'll open the R Studio. I'm going to close the R and I'll open the R Studio. Okay, so here we are. Here we are with the R studio. This is where we are going to be doing most of our work. This we are going to be doing majority of what our work. Like I said the other time, that when you open the R studio for the very first time, you are supposed to have three um environments, right? What we call the console, the environment, and what the output. Okay, so to my extreme left hand side, you see what we call the console. This console is the same as the console we came about when we were looking at what they are. It's the same console. So you can do your coding here in the console as well. Let's do the examples we did earlier on. We did 14 plus 60. So I have my code in the command prompt. Like I said, the command prompt is there to take a command or an instruction from you, then what give you the outcome. Then give you the outcome. But remember, in the command prompt, sorry, in the console in R, we just pressed enter. So here you do the same thing. As soon as I press enter, it gives me what? 30 as what? The results. 8 plus 8. When I press enter, it will give me what? The results. Right? To give me what? The results. That's what the console does. We can code in the console as well. Now, one will ask, what then about the output? Like I said, in the R Studio, this is the interface. We have the console, that's the longest bar or the biggest space, followed by the environment, followed by what? The output, right? Followed by the environment, and then what? Followed by the output. Now, let me take my time and explain them into details. Let me take my time and explain them into details. Now, these three main page divides the entire screen. The large one being the console at my extreme right-hand side. And the console, as you saw, that was where I did the coding or the practical, and then it gave me the answer. Now, how about the environment? For some of you, you might have certain items in the environment. It might not be empty. There is those that are already previewed to the software, right? Those that are already previewed to the software, they might not have their environment to be empty, as you are seeing on my screen here to be empty. Okay. Now, in the environment, there are other sections, there are menus, and there are what? Icons. What does all these things stand for? What do they do? Right? In the environment, it includes other environment, what we call the global environment, and we will get to know what it is as we progress, right? You will get to know what it is. Also, one of the things you can find in the environment is the environment tab. All right, the environment tab. So what the environment tab is, what it does is that it keeps track of the objects that we create as we work with what the R software. Any object that we create, and don't worry, as we progress, we get to know what an object is in the first place. You get to know what it is, right? And so any object that we create in the software is being saved in the environment. Also, we have the history tab. So this is the environment tab, followed by the environment tab is what we call what? The history tab. So what does it do? As you can see practically, the history tab is there to save all of the command that we have sent to the console in what? The R session. As you can see, we did 14 plus 16 and what? 8 plus 8. There's the result. And so the history is there to save all work that we've done as far as the software is concerned. That is one work of what? The history or the history tab, right? It helps us to save all commands that we have done in the software. Now, quick one, let's talk about the output. Like I said, just beneath the environment, just right beneath the environment where I'm hovering the cursor over, that's what we call the output. The output also has gotten files and icons, just as the environment does. The environment has gotten menus or items as well as what? Icons. In similar vein, the output has also gotten what? Some menus and what? Icons. Right. So the first item you can see or that we can see at the output is what? The file. the file. And so, as we all know, file, it just allows us to create folder this directories on our computer. We can we'll be able to copy, move, delete, or probably rename a file that we want, right? Just as how to, navigate or arrange files on your desktop. Is that okay? The next item, or to the right of the file, we have what we call what? The plot. And this one part that I love most. This one part that I love most. What does the plot do? The plot gives us a display or an outcome of any graphics or visualization that we would do. So the plot tab that is under the output pane, it gives us what? A graphical representation or a graphical outcome, right? So here we are able to get the outcome of anything graphics. Anything graphics. Now, next to the plot is what? The packages. One of the things we can equally find under the output is what we call the packages. For the first time users, don't be bothered about what packages is. You will get to know as we progress. And so just keep tuned with my channel and I'll take time and make more videos on this. You get to know what a package is. Then followed by is what? The help. The help tab. What does the help tab do? The help tab, like the name suggests, it gives us help. Okay, whenever we need help for something, documentation, then the help tab is there to be of what? Guide for us. Okay, to be of what? Guide for us. We have the viewer and that of the presentation tab. Okay, they've also gotten unique things that they do. Right. So I've made mention of the command prompt, and like I said, the command prompt takes instruction from us and then what? Execute those instructions. It takes instruction from us and what? Execute those instructions. Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Now we are getting there gradually. We are getting there gradually. Yeah. So just for keep on following me. Keep on following me. Now I want us to look at some three things before we do proper coding. You see, as far as this software is concerned, there are rules of engagements that needs to be met. Okay, there are rules of what? Engagements that needs to be met. Now, as far as we use this software, we are going to come across three basic stuffs. You'll come across what we call an error. You come across warnings and what? Messages. There is no we can avoid these three things as far as the software is concerned. Right. Now you see, when I did 14 plus 16, it gives me an answer. When I did 8 plus 8, it gave me what? An answer, right? Let's take another example. Let's take another example. Let's say hello. Let's type hello in the console, right? So let's type hello, comma. My name is Joseph Mauto. Yeah. So this time around, this is the command that I'm giving the software. This is the instruction I'm giving the software. Now, I expect an outcome, right? So let me run it and let me see what outcome it will give me. Oh, bam, 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 bam. We've gotten an error. Gotten an error. It says error. Unexpected, comma, in hello. Ah, hmm. Let's take another example. Let's say let's just take one word. Let's say coffee. And let's run and see. Hey, what am I saying? It says error. The object coffee not found. Why is that the case? Let's take a lady because Kofi is a guy. Let's take a lady. Let's take Amma. Let's give the command prompt Amma. You know, ladies, they are kind of natural. Let me just not go there. Let me just. Oh, we are still getting the same error. So this is what it means. Okay, here we have what we call what? An error. And this type of error is what we call syntax error. For those of us that are proficient with the Python software, you will come across the word syntax error, right? Now, what does syntax error means? Or what does it mean to have an error? Whenever we have an error, that means there's a problem somewhere. It means we have violated the rules of engagement of the software, right? So by default, the software is unable to interpret this because we have gone against what? The rules of engagement. And so whenever we go against the rules of engagement of the software, it always produce an error. So today we are looking at error. We are looking at warnings. Warnings. Again, we are looking at the last one, messages. They, they kind of work hand in hand, right? So messages, yeah, SSAGES. So these three items, we will coming across them very often. You see, regardless of your expertise in the software, there is no way you not come across an error, right? And funny enough, whenever we come across an error, that is what helps us to understand the software better. That's what helps us to improve our proficiencies in the software better. How? By being able to identify the error and what rectifying the error. That makes us what proficient in the language. And so you come across an error, you come across warnings and what messages. I said the error is whenever you violate the rules of engagement, whenever you go contrary to what the software is known to or prone to, you are going to have an error. How about warnings? So take note, whenever you have an error, the code will not execute. The code will not give you the outcome. As you can see, when I type, hello, my name is Joseph Malto, I did not get any outcome. So in the first case, 14 plus 16, the outcome was what? 30 in what? A black ink or a black marker. Second example, 8 plus 8, outcome is what? 16. Third example, hello, my name is Joseph Malto. Are you seeing? There is no outcome. Kofi, there is no outcome. Ama, there is no outcome. So, okay. So whenever you have an error, it's not give an outcome. Now, how about messages? For messages, it will give you the outcome though, but you need to be very careful because there are some possible issues that might pop up later. Okay, that's our what? Message, sorry, warnings. For warnings, the code will run perfectly. However, there might be a possibility of having issues at a subsequent time. That's the distinction between what errors and what warnings, right? Now, in many cases, messages are just attached to the outcome after the code. Okay, so the execution might be useful information for the user. Let's take a typical example. Let's say 4 plus 6 plus. So look at what we are doing this time around. If you are following, type 4 plus 6 plus. So let me just make it minus 2, right? Minus. Okay, let me first run this. I know what I'm doing. So 4 plus 6 minus 2 is what? 8, right? Perfect. You have the outcome. Again, let's do 4 plus 6 minus. I'm going to run this and let's see what happens. Again, to run in the console, you just press enter. Hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing? When I press enter, a plus shows instead of getting an outcome. Now, what does this mean? Whenever you come across something like this, it must hint you or prompt you that the code that you gave or that you have given to the command prompt is incomplete. So whenever you give an incomplete command to the software, you are going to have a plus sign showing for you, indicating that the code you typed earlier on is not complete. So go back and go and complete the code. or probably cancel it at all. Okay, so if you want to cancel the command, all that you need to do is to press the escape character. Let me just not say escape character, let me just say the escape button, the ESC. Okay, so here, you see, I press up to recall. In the console, you can recall all codes you've done so far by pressing the up key. So when I press up, I'll be able to recall the code. So what do? I just press the arrow sign up to recall the code. Then from there, I'll edit it or I'll complete the code before what I finally run it. When I press up again to give me the previous code, up again, the previous code, up again, the previous code, up. So as far as you keep on pressing the up, it will give you all the codes, all the previous codes, right? So this time around, I want to edit or complete the 4 plus 6, probably minus 2 before I run. Then we have what? 10. Right. Similarly, let's say 7 plus 5 plus, probably I forgot to do something. Then in a haste, I run. It gave me the plus. And so this time around, maybe I do not want to record the code to maybe edit it. But what I want to do is what to cancel the entire command. What I'll do in that case is to press the escape, the ESC. That's the very first key on the keyboard. When I press the escape, as you can see, it gives me a new command line to what type or code in there. It gives me a new command line to type or what code in there. Probably I'll do 7 plus 5 plus probably 3. Then I'll run. Then boom, there we are. We've got our 15. I want to believe by this time you are enjoying the software. These explanations are very vital. You need to understand them before you progress. They are very, very, very vital. Again, take note, all that we are doing is in the console, right? It is in the console. Recall in the R, you were able to type in the console, and similarly, you were able to type or code in what? The editor, right? So, like I said, the R is not entirely different from the R Studio. The R Studio is just not to say a build up, but probably is a friendly aspect of what? The R. Okay, so we can equally have an editor in the R Studio. Don't worry, we'll get there. You're just taking it one at a time, right? Let's not jump the gun. You'll get there gradually. Okay. Now, having understood errors, warning, messages, I think this a good ground for us to progress higher. This a good ground for us to progress higher. Let me explain one more thing here. Let me explain one more thing here, right? Let me explain something here before we take off to the next thing. Just as the R software has gotten menu, the R Studio has also gotten menus and probably icons. In fact, a lot of them for. So you can see the file, you can see the edit, the code, the view, the plot session, build, debug, profile, tools, help. So the R has gotten most of this as well, but for the sake of time, let's just look at the file menu. Again, these are the icons. Right beneath the menus are the icons, right? You can see this plus sign. It says what? New file. Another plus sign. It says what? Create project. Then we have open an existing file. And then we have that of save. You can save and open. Then we have that of what? Okay, so don't worry, I'll open the script. Now, what's the difference between a project and a script? Okay, so what we are about doing at this critical moment is, first of all, creating a project before we end up creating a script. One who asks, why projects? Why do I have to create a project? What is it at all? It's not a must to create a project. However, when you create a project, it helps us avoid the issues of directory. You see, at a point in time, we'll be working with what? Real world data. And so working with a real world data or trying to import a real data to the software, you might first of all have to change the directory to where the data is. on the desktop, right? Before we'll be able to have access to that data and then manipulate and do our analysis. And so whenever you create a project, whenever you open the software, it takes you to that directory. It takes you to that directory. You can sign up to create a project, but just go ahead and create the script. The script here is more or less like that of the editor that we came across in the case of the R software. Okay, so having said that, we're going to create a project. So go to the file, click on it. You see what? New file. From the drop downs, you see new file, new project, open file, all the way to what? Close projects. Like I said, we are going to first of all create a project. So you can see new project. From the R menu, locate file, open it. From the drop downs, locate what? New project. Click on it. Give it some time, like 5 seconds. So you can see new project is what? Loading. Here we are. Now it says what? New directory. Then existing directory. Then version control. And so we are doing this together. Let's just agree on a name. What name shall we use? So we are coming to create a new directory. So first of all, click on the new directory. Then from there, you see what? New projects. New project. Take note of this. As of the making of this video, the project I have here is what? My first project. Take note. So after you're done creating a new project, it will change from what I have here to the very new project that we have created. Is that okay? Take note. So we are going to open new projects. So I'm going to click on the new project. So here it is asking me of what? The name. What name do I want to give to my project? So let's say online project, right? So R online projects. R online project. That's our directory name. Now, how about the directory itself? Okay. How about the directory itself? We can type it, or to be at the safer side, let's just browse. So I'm going to browse my desktop to go straight to so I'm going to go to drive C. So on the drive C, there is where I'm going to have my directory in, or I'm going to have the directory on the drive C, right? On the drive C. So I'm going to click open here. So as you can see, on the drive C, I have what? Online projects. So what name? Okay, let me browse to drive C again. Probably for me, let me create a new folder. Let me create a new folder. It's okay. Let me just leave it like this. Yeah, so drive C, that's our directory, or that's the path, so that we all be at the same page. Okay. Now you see, it is very essential so that we will not be using different path or different directory. Else, trying to help you guys might be kind of difficult and cumbersome because it's not an in-person or it's not an online something that I'll be able to tell where your directory is. Then I'll help you correct whatever you have to correct. Okay. So for us to be at the same page, let's just have the directory on the drive C. That's it. Then from there, create project. So as you can see, I'm going to click on what? The create project. So it says what? Switching. Okay. So now we have successfully what? Created a new project. As you can see, all the examples we did earlier on is no more there because now we are working on what? A new project. Take note. Here is now what? The R online project. So we have been successful in what? Creating a project. So hashtag successful in creating a new project. Wow, awesome. Next, we are going to what? Create a new script. Right, that's what we are going to do next. We are going to create a new script. What we created is just what a project that we created, right? So now we are going to create a new script. To create a new script, you can use the shortcut or the icons. So this is the icon for what? Creating a project. As you can see, create a project. This is the icon for what? Creating a script. So when I click on this, I'll have the new script being what open for us. Okay, but I will want us to go through the long method. Let's just go to the menu, go to file, and then what? Go to new script. In any case, the plus sign here will do the job for us as well. Now we'll go to the R menu, go to file, go to what? New projects. So first of all, new file. Then from there, from new file, you go to what? R script. You can see you can do Control Shift and then N. It will do the same job for us. It will create what? A new script for us. So I'm going to create a new script now. I'm going to click on it. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you seeing what I'm saying? So as soon as I create the new script, my screen or my environment, my total environment has now been partitioned into what? 4. So you recall earlier on I said that for those of us that have already been used or previewed to the RStudio software, when you open it, you are going to have 4 interface. What it means is that to such a person, the person already has what? A script open already. So this is the environment as usual. This is the outcome, or sorry, the output. This is the console. Then this is what? The editor. This the editor, right? And so you can maneuver the bars. You can even change the various location, right? But let's just maintain a default settings. All that you're going to do is just probably I'm going to shift the console up a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is okay for now. It's okay for now. Okay. So this is the editor. That's where you're going to do our coding. You realize initially we're doing the coding here, 5 plus 9, and then enter. The outcome is what? 14. Okay, but like I said, whenever you code in the console, you might not be able to share the code to probably someone else. You might not be able to continue at a later time. Okay, so to be able to continue at a later time, it is important we have what? The editor, right? It's important we have what? The script, right? So now that we've been successful in creating the script, that's where we're going to do our coding at. That's where you're going to do our coding at. So this is what we call the editor, the source editor. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take another example, 7 plus 8. Yeah, we all know this is 15. Okay, now take note, take note, take note here. This if you are following online and you are doing the practice as well, in the editor, when I say editor, I'm referring to the source editor. This is what we call the source editor. When I press enter, it will not execute the code for me. Unlike the console. In the console, when you press enter, it will execute the code and immediately give you a new command line. However, take note, in the editor, when you press enter, it will not execute the code for you. It will bring the cursor down. You can see the numbering. Whenever I press enter, it just gives me a text number. Right? So the one is just telling us that's the first line where you can have a code 2, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6, in order. As you keep pressing the enter, it will just be giving you what? Lines. It will not execute the code for you. To execute the code, there are 2 ways to go about it. Either you use the icon, as you can see, they run here. It says what? It runs the current line. Like I said, this is line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, to as many lines as possible. So in line 1, I have 8 plus 7. To run this, I'll either press this. That's the run icon, right? I'm going to press on it once. Then I have my outcome. 8 plus 7 is what? 15. 8 plus 7 is what? 50. Then line 2, another example, 7 plus 7. And we all know 7 plus 7 is what? 14. But this time around, I wouldn't want to use the icon. I want to use what? Shift plus enter. You see, shift plus enter gives me the answer of what? 7 plus 7. So to execute a code in the editor or the source editor, you have to do Control plus enter. However, in the console, just what? Press enter. Is that okay? And again, you see, whatever you do in the console, you might not be able to work upon at a later time. But whatever you do in the editor, you'll be able to work at a later time with it. Okay. And also, whenever you work in the editor, the outcome or the answers will be displayed in the console. But if it has to do with graphics, it will not show in the console. Take note. Whatever you do in the editor, if it relates to graphics, it will show in what? The output. As you can see, the plot. It will show here. However, if it is a non-graphic or a non-visualization, it will show in what? The console. So at a point, you can see my console is full. As you can see, my final answer is probably to the very end. So I can clear the console. You can clear the console, right? So to clear the console, just do Control L. Control plus L. I've been able to what? Clear the console. Okay. Then I'll do another coding. 5 plus 9. 5 plus 9. Then when I do Control Enter, have the outcome to be what? 14. 14. 14. And so these are the basic things that we need to know as far as what? R and R Studio is concerned. Don't worry. In my next video, we are going to go deeper. We are going to dive deeper. We are going to dive deeper. Getting started with R part 3 or the C part, we are going to what? Dive deeper. And before we bring this session to an end, let's first of all save our script. You see, it says what? Untitled. We don't have a name for it. You don't have a title for it yet. So now let's save it. After you are done saving it, then we can give it a name. We can give it a name. So to save, either you press the icon save current document, or you can still go to file. Then from there you see save and what? Save as. And because we are saving for the very first time, it's ideal we do what? Save as. Same in the case of what? Word, right? Because we are saving it for the very first time, we're going to make use of what? The save as. So when I press the save as, watch here, it takes me directly to what? The R online project. Have you seen? This is because we were able to first of all create a project. Had we not created a project, then it would have just taken us to the default directory of your desktop or your laptop, right? So let's give it a name. Let's give it a name. Probably let me just say, what name? R online script. Take note of how I'm spelling it. R underscore online underscore script. Then I save. Right. So as you can see the name here, R underscore online underscore script. Having done it like this, we can choose to close the software. Then when we open it again, we will come back to that same software again. I mean, to just take it up from where we've gotten to, right? And so I'm going to make the final part of this video, getting started with what? R part 3 or the C part. And so thank you for the audience and for following along. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.